Hey everyone, it's Varsha from Coaching by Varsha. I'm going to be doing more of these reaction videos. I don't know what's going to happen. I have not watched this video before. Please subscribe and like. I am about to review, and also follow and subscribe my page. Give this video a thumbs up, and I look forward to hearing comments. What did you like? What do you want to see more of? What are you experiencing in your dating that you'd like for me to react on or respond with? Also follow me on Instagram and see more of my tips and ideas on how to improve your love life, and especially in dating and committed relationships. So here it goes. Let's review the next one.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacy, and I'm going to be doing a special video for you guys today where I tell you about just the most awful date I've ever been on. And I've had a lot of anxiety, I've been feeling pretty down, so I thought it'd be a nice change of pace to come on here and let you guys laugh at my expense.
All right, guys, just to be clear, we are not laughing at her expense. This is about talking about how to improve and be successful in dating. Please like and give that algorithm a boost for her. I believe she has a YouTube channel. And so remember, this is about not dissing on her. This is about improving, because women are capable of having successful, happy relationships.
I hope the boy doesn't see this video. I mean, why would he? But like, maybe I should have planted like a fake fact or like a fake part of the story and see if he like messages me and defends himself or something. That would be funny. I can't use his real name. Let's call him Adam, because that's the first alphabetical name I could think of. So I swiped right on Adam on Bumble, and I liked him. You know, we were vibing pretty well. We kind of had the same sense of humor. He was witty and sarcastic and could kind of keep up with my sense of humor. He was also a personal trainer and had 8 abs, but that had nothing to do with it. But you know, we had a really good connection, so we did all of the usual steps. We got off the app and like gave each other Snapchat so we could like verify identity with like face photos. We got each other's numbers. We're texting for a little bit, getting to know each other a little better. So I feel like I vetted him properly in the sense that I was comfortable meeting with him to go on an in-person date.
Cool. I love that for a lot of people, this is enough to vet, just like texting back and forth, feeling comfortable. But look, I am a huge believer in the fact that you gotta get on a phone call with this person before you go on an actual date. I know what everyone says, it's just not the culture anymore, like blah, blah, blah. But look, the culture is not working for so many people. And so nip this stuff in the bud and just get on a phone call, make them do a video chat. I mean, look, if the person is willing to put on makeup, get dressed up, go out, meet a person, then why not just get on a call, do a video chat or a phone call, like old-fashioned phone calls? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because you can just get so many things out of the way before you put in the effort of going to meet. My 2 cents, really works. Try it out.
And I said I'll be free for dinner, so if you wanted to meet up, you pick the place. For reference, the night before, I had actually gone bar hopping with friends and I had lost my debit card, and I called in the morning, and the place where I thought I had left it, they didn't have it. So I didn't have my debit card. So I remember actually on this morning, I borrowed $40 from my mom in cash because I had no cash. I didn't have a credit card. And I was like, oh, I'm about to go on this date, but like it's $40. Like first dates are like coffee or, you know, ice cream sort of thing. So that'll come in.
I know I've said this before. A first date that is coffee or ice cream is not a first date. If you keep labeling these things as first dates, of course all dates are going to go bad. This is just getting to know someone and meeting someone for the first time. A date is when you actually go out because you like each other, because you want to actually get to know each other. And so, yeah, a first date costing $40, pretty cheap. I love that she thought ahead so that she could make sure that she could cover the date. But coffee, ice cream, a walk in the park, that first initial get to know someone, especially if you haven't had that first phone call, is absolutely not a date. Just remember that, because again, if we keep labeling them like this, of course it's going to be a bad date. You're just vetting the person on this first meeting.
So he texts me and he lets me know to meet him at this one restaurant that I can't remember the name of. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll meet you there. So I meet him there. He's exactly as I pictured. I knew who he was right away. We go into this restaurant. We sit down. I look at the menu, and everything on the menu was the same price, and that price was about $35. So already I'm like, oh, this is expensive, and I am underdressed. But I was like, okay, like, well, we're here already, gotta make the most of it. So the first thing that we do is we order
Okay, maybe unrelated to this particular post because she clearly like has a reason for not having the money or whatever, but just keep in mind like vetting the place before you go so that you do know what to wear and you do know what to expect cost-wise, because regardless of where your thoughts lie on who should pay for what, I think it's really empowering to actually know that you can cover your portion of the bill, maybe even the other person's portion of the bill, so that you feel like you have choice to get out, to not have to imply anything by, you know, what you spend and whether or not you cover the cost.
mules, because that was something that we had talked about in our text, that was like my drink of choice. So he was like, let's order some Moscow mules. So we order them, the waitress brings them, and he like takes one sip and he was like, ugh, there's like no alcohol in this. And I was like, Adam, it's fine, like there's plenty of alcohol in this. And he goes, no. Calls like the waitress back, like, excuse me, as she's talking to another table. And he goes, I think the bartender forgot to put any alcohol in this. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, like that's our standard pour. Would you like to make it a double? And he goes, really? I would just like, I can't believe this. Like he was stunned. And so already I'm like, as a former server of like 10 years, I'm already like, oh no, this is bad. So he sends his drink back, they bring back another one, and he ordered double.
Okay, this is more for this guy if you're ever watching this, or if in general this is your go-to thing, like being judgmental towards the food and drink on a date. Look, the person that you are with, this is their first impression of you. And so it might be worth it to just kind of be amicable and flexible with the typical things that bother you. Now, I'm not trying to say be fake, but I think something like there's not enough alcohol in my drink implies so many things for the date. Like, are you, too used to too much alcohol, or, are you typically complaining to servers? And depending on the kind of place that you're in, a lot of high-end places actually prefer not to taste like alcohol-y, but have plenty of liquor in their drinks. And so consider what it looks like to the person hearing you say this on a date. And I get it. We all have our standards. Don't lower them. But consider the other person's reaction to what you're saying.
So already I'm kind of getting like those vibes of like, if you're not nice to the waitress on your first date, that's just not a good sign. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Considering everything on the order was all around the same price, I make the statement of like, well, I'm just going to order like the craziest thing I can find, or like the most exotic thing that I haven't tried before. This restaurant, for reference, had like a lot of seafood, a lot of cuts of meat that I had never seen before. So I was like, I'm going to order the octopus dish. And he goes, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, don't blame me when you don't finish it because you don't like it. And I think I made a comment of like, where's your sense of adventure? Like, dude, it's all right. I'm not a picky eater. Like, it's kind of fine. And at this point, I'm thinking like, oh, so not only is he rude, but he's also really not down to earth. Noted. So
yes, more power to you. Like, way to kind of sense what this person is implying to you. While I wouldn't say necessarily dismiss him yet, it is kind of indicative of like his inability to see what he's doing to you while you're on the date.
Just comes, takes our order. He orders a steak, medium rare. I order my plate of octopus. She goes away. So then there's that, that point in between where you order your food and you're waiting for your food, where you're supposed to converse. Supposed to is the key word, because homeboy did not know how to have a conversation. How it went was I was essentially interviewing him. I would ask him a question and he would answer it and just sit there. He wasn't asking me any questions, guys.
Okay, so this happens so often. It could be nerves. It could be selfishness. We don't know, right? On the spectrum, there could be a number of reasons for why someone may not be asking you questions on the date. I don't want to make any judgments here, nor should you necessarily this early in the date. However, take this opportunity to actually be a little bold and say like, I would love it if you would get to know me a little bit more by asking me some questions, or something along those lines. Feel it out and just be like, would you like to know about me? Would you like to know what my opinion is? And Or I'd love to share because it gives me an appreciation of actually connecting with you. I know these things sound super cheesy outside of the date, but when you're in it, start creating the atmosphere of like a give and take, and don't just expect it from the other person, because again, we don't know why they're not asking questions.
Not even questions back to me. For example, I think I said like, oh, so do you have any pets? And he was like, oh yeah, you know, like I still live with my parents, but we have a wiener dog and a Labrador.
Exactly, right?
Or do you want to just ask me that question back? You know, for the two-way conversation we're supposed to be having here. And so at this point, I'm kind of realizing, okay,
just a little thing here as well, which is that if she had gotten on a phone call with him or done a video date beforehand, like she would have already known that this is the kind of conversationalist he is, and potentially avoided this like $40 spent or this like time wasted, and actually gone on a real get to know someone date or a real actual date with someone else.
Into this guy, I don't like this guy. Let me test him a little bit. So I decided.
No. Okay, testing someone. I get it, right? Like now she's in the seat of like already not liking this guy, right? Totally understandable. But the word testing someone on a date, it just means that you're using your brain and not your heart. I highly recommend always trying to stay in the moment with coming from your heart. What does this guy need? Like actually, instead of trying to like pull something out of him and like actually do things that might test, consider actually thinking about like, how can I actually get this person's guard to come down so they can show me their true side?
Was not going to ask him any more questions after like 15 minutes of just me straight up interviewing him like I'm Barbara Walters. So I just stopped asking questions, thinking he would kind of take over the conversation and either ask me questions back or just continue to talk. Guys, he just stopped talking. And at one point, he took out his phone and started scrolling through Instagram. So I'm like, okay, like, I don't know if this guy, his ego is just way too big. So the food comes. Oh my guys, my octopus was so good. I'm gonna see if I can like look up what.
I love that because I also love octopus dishes. But so again, like by stopping the conversation, what she did was get resigned to the actual commitment of actually getting something out of this date. And so really keep playing around, get creative, like say the bold things. If you're already leaning towards not being into this person, then there's just no way that you can F it up. And so why not try something creative or silly or unique that might get this date to have a different vibe?
If I do, it'll look like this. It was so good. Like seriously, in like the top 10 things I've.
This woman clearly has a good humor, like fun personality, and is absolutely capable of having better dating experiences and just somebody who actually cares about her.
And he just got a regular cut of steak, and surprise, surprise, it was overcooked to his liking. So naturally, he calls the waitress over very rudely, and then we have to wait another 20 minutes for his new steak to be done. Cue another round of us just not even having a conversation, or him just talking about only himself and learning nothing about me. Like that's how.
Totally, right? So we are actually I am not surprised by this story. It is so typical these days in dating. Why? Because we're allowing these kinds of first dates to actually be defined as first dates. This is not a date. She doesn't know this guy and it's going nowhere. So why are we even allowing ourselves to get upset about these kinds of experiences? It was inevitable. She never talked to the guy. A couple of texts, and by the way, everyone can seem reasonably decent in a text. This guy's probably perfectly fine, but he's used to this probably, and so that's just not okay.
And then like the part I was dreading happens where like the check comes, and it was over $100. And guys, like just don't take your first date to a place that's going to be over $100. Like you don't even know if you like the person yet. Why commit to that much money? It was so odd to me. So I let him know. I was like, hey, like I'm really sorry, I only have $40 in cash. Let me give that to you, kind of like ... And he goes, ugh, wow, like rolls his eyes so hard he sees his brain.
Okay, totally could have been avoided by having that conversation ahead of time. Like, hey, heads up, I lost my wallet the other night. Please let's pick something that's, accordingly, or just let me know. My husband actually forgot his wallet on our first date. He let me know well in advance while I was still getting ready and went back and got it, but I was totally judging him in the moment, and it allowed me to get prepared for whatever needed to happen on our date. And I secretly already loved him because we had a ton of phone conversations beforehand.
Just like scoffs out loud, and I was like, can I Venmo you the rest? And then he was like, no, it's fine. And I was like, no, like, let me Venmo you the rest. I want to like pay my share. I ordered drinks. We got an appetizer. I ordered like a $35 meal.
Oh, this dude's reactions. Like, I'm so sorry you had this experience. Like, where's the freaking compassion in today's dating world? Like, love, compassion, like, it's okay. Like, what is the difference that she owed? Like $30, $40? Like, if this is a restaurant in your circle of restaurants that you go to on a regular basis, I don't think that $30 would have made all that much of a difference. And so, compassion, people, let's do it.
Let me pay for half of it. And he goes, no, it's fine. And I was like, I think I said like, oh, I had a gift card, I think, or something like that, where I offered to pay for dessert, kind of make up for it. Then he's like, fine.
Okay, a little nuance that I want to notice in here. In a real date, like on a real date, you don't want to ever have this feeling of like, am I doing enough? Am I being enough? Am I, providing enough financial equality in this date? Like, no, a good date would not have you feeling so uncertain about how you're showing up, like really lets everyone start taking the back to compassion piece on, and just like let people know they're okay where they're at. Like, this poor woman who seems freaking great is worried about her, gift card not being sufficient to make this person happy. You don't have to prove anything, and you should be working on making the other person feel at ease on your dates. Everybody's freaking nervous, and everyone might want something, and so just relax.
Like a knife to my heart, I sneak a peek, and he didn't tip. And like, that's like the one.
How do you not tip? Hello, I don't know when this was recorded, but like, hello, this is how people make a living. You don't need to be in the service industry to know that a tip is pretty much required. This is how people make a living, and they freaking worked their butts off to get you your food. So yeah, okay, a little bit of my own little bias here, but like, a tip? Like, it's America. We all know that this is how the service industry works. Come on.
It's like such a deal breaker to me. You guys have no idea. He's a dick. Scenery change. We go to get ice cream. And at this point, I'm feeling like, I already know I don't like him and I'm not going to be seeing him again. But I was feeling kind of guilty about the whole not being able to pay my share. Even though, again, I think it's weird that he expected me to go on a first date and pay like $60. Weird. Anyway, so we go to this ice cream place.
So again, lots of different nuances here. Not totally weird. I mean, I think the conversation should have been had in advance. The vetting should have been done before actually going out. I mean, the conversation about money, then vetting him via phone before that even. And the expectations, I mean, I think that varies, from person to person. I love it when a man pays for a date. Different nuances based on like, are you heterosexual or not, whatever. But the point is that if you're inviting someone to a particular place, you should assume that you're going to pick up the bill.
And like, it's just like, there's no chemistry, there's no vibe. It was kind of like we both had the attitude of like, what are we even doing here? I remember one comment that he made was, he asked a very like poignant question, and he goes, so do I look like what you thought I would look like?
What an indicator of him being so incredibly focused solely on looks. The fact that he was kind of asking for a compliment because he probably already knows that he looks like what he put his profile pictures up for. And I'm guessing she only dates good looking men, and or like, that LA, New York good looking guy. And the thing is that a question like that is just such a red flag to me. Like, what about the rest of the date? Like, do I look like my profile? Who the hell cares? You sucked during the rest of the date.
And so I do what he should have done, and I asked the question back, also because it felt very targeted, like he was asking it just so he could get it asked back. I said, do I look like what you thought I would look like? And he goes, no. I was like, why? And he goes, I don't know. And I knew what he meant, And I think it's because we were sharing like face photos of just like, oh, like off to work kind of thing. I think what he was telling me was I was probably like chubbier than what he thought, because I don't think I had any like full body photos in my Bumble at this time, and he is a personal
Ooh, guys, always have full body photos of yourself in your dating profiles. If you have to like go out and buy a tripod because you don't have a friend who's willing to take that picture for you, please do that. I am a size 14. So let me tell you, I am nervous as hell, or I was nervous as hell when I was putting my dating profile up there for people to see. Like, I get it. We have our insecurities about our bodies, but do not let a picture go beyond 6 months old, and do not have something that doesn't include your full body. I even recommend like an action shot, like you doing something so people can really see your whole being.
So we finish our ice creams, and the paper sleeves from the ice creams, the ice creams were dripping all over our hands. But we had the paper sleeves left, and like we couldn't find a trash can. And so he goes, oh, give me that. He takes it, he balls up it with his, and he puts it on the bench. He was like, all right, let's go. And I was like, what? Like, no, he goes, just leave it. It's fine. And I was like, oh, you're going to not tip my waitress. You're going to be a dick the whole time, and you're going to litter. Just wait, because like it gets better. So we have ice cream all over our hands. It's all sticky. So we're like, okay, we need to find a restroom to wash our hands. We ask a security guard. We were at a mall at this point, and it was late, and so all of like the main bathrooms were closed. So we asked a security guard, where's the nearest restroom? He pointed us to the parking garage and said, there's one on the bottom floor that should still be open. We're like, cool, thanks. But he asks me, at this point in my life, I was newly single. I hadn't really dated before, and I was learning to stand up for myself, which is very obvious, because if any normal person were on this date, they would have not gone to dessert. They would have cut out early. They would have been like, screw you, you're a douchebag, I'm out of here. I was still learning like how to say no, how to stand up for myself, be confident.
Thanks for calling yourself out on that. I wanted to say something along those lines, but I need the whole story and kind of the vibe before I get into that.
Knowing that he has no chance of a second date, there's no chemistry here, there's no vibe, he throws his Hail Mary and he says, so have you ever like done it in a public restroom? And I said, no. And he goes, want to? At this point, for the record, I know I prefaced this by saying like I was learning how to say no. I said no, of course, but I'm disappointed in how I said it, because how I answered.
Okay, how many of you watching like actually figured that this was gonna be the result? I mean, come on, like it was all about looks. It was all about getting through the date so that something could happen. I mean, this is not a surprise to me. I love that she's aware of the fact that dating is kind of something she's getting back into the flow of. And it looks like she probably handled herself really well. I'm curious to hear how it goes, but like, this is not surprising.
It was not a slap to the face. It was not a big F you effing douchebag. What I said was, no, I'm on my period. Which was such a cop-out. Like, I'm so mad I wasn't, like, as strong of a feminist as I am today. And I'm so disappointed in that answer. But that's what I said. I said, no, I'm on my period. So he delivers the most cinematic line that will forever be engraved into the history books in my friend groups. And he says, I almost, like, want to write it. It's so good. He says, God made back door for a reason. I know. I'll just let that one sink in for a little bit.
I love it. I mean, I just love how the reaction is what it is.
So this guy on the first date, after just what was so horrible for both of us, asked me for in a bathroom of a parking garage.
I feel so terrible because nobody deserves this, and I'm just not surprised based on the way that it went from the beginning. I think that it's creative, the way he asked, and I think that, she's clearly like was trying to be graceful with her response, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, totally. I think she realizes she could have been done with this situation way before the ice cream.
It's so bad, you guys. I left right after that, and I said no, and again, I wish I would have like done something really cool, like slapped him or said, "Don't ever call me again, you creep." But no, I just said like, okay.
No one needs that kind of drama. It's just not worth it.
I need to go home now. And of course, like, we never spoke after that. He never reached out again. I, of course, didn't reach out again. He's blocked on everything. But it was just one of those dates that just shook me to my core that I don't think I dated for probably like 6 or 7 months after that, because I was like, okay, like, that was really bad. I also had to reflect on the...
Yeah, again, like, this is not the kind of first date that I would label as a first date. And so I'm sorry that it shook you, but it just didn't have to go that way had you vetted it in advance. And so this is kind of where I like to talk to people about, like, if the person's not willing to be vetted beforehand, then what do you think they might be getting at by doing something so elaborate for the first time they even get to talk to somebody properly? So there's a couple of red flags that could have been noticed ahead of time.
That could have been a potentially dangerous situation, which
yes.
This is the sitcom message of all of this, is that I could have been in a lot of danger. You know, we were alone in a parking garage in a bathroom kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It made me learn my standards and kind of learn what man I would want to date, but also that I just wasn't ready to date.
The next step for you really would be to get clarity on how to find that guy and how to make sure that you're only going out with people who give you that level of connection and respect and safety, rather than doing this and thinking that it's going to get better by just a numbers game.
But thank you guys so much for checking out this video.
So there you have it. And if you are watching through till the end, consider where you might need to get some clarity on how to get the kinds of dates that actually do the things that you want so that you can actually have deep connections rather than get stuck in bathrooms and garages. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and also do so for her so that we can get the algorithm working and have everyone supported and loved. Thanks, everyone.